Man, it's good to be back with all this traffic. It really is good to be back. I mean, look at that. It's foggy. It's always foggy here. Listen to this. If you thought that I wasn't shooting film during my recent road trip, well, you were wrong. This has been my little secret, and I really mean very little, because I didn't use it much, only 24 frames in a month and a half. I'm gonna be finishing this roll today. I'm gonna be shooting another one, and I'll be talking about this camera, what it is, and where it came from. I don't think there's much to say about this camera. It's a compact 35mm camera. There is no control whatsoever. You cannot control shutter speed, aperture, anything. I do not know the specifications of this camera. I'm gonna do some research online to see if I find something. Also, my dad had 3 or 4 of these around in the house. I don't know why. I'll ask him, just in case he knows more about them than me, but I don't think he will. So the only thing that you can do is open and close the lens here, and it has a panorama switch. All it does, it just moves like a mask, plastic mask in the finder and here on the film itself, which is disappointing because at first I thought that the panorama switch could take, you know, like a longer strip of the film, but no, all it does is just it crops a regular 35mm frame into something smaller, so it just crops the top of and the bottom, so you're not getting more resolution.
Shasta.
Hey. So the panorama is going to be lower resolution that you would get if you could use I don't know, longer piece of film, but whatever. So yeah, let's go out and keep shooting it.
I think you want the other. You want to be over here.
You want a photo of you? You want a photo of you? Come on, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Come on. Sit down. Good girl. Good girl. Say, come on. Say. Say. There you go. Say. No, 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 no. I'm gonna be just like strangling her.
Yeah.
And now what? I have to figure this out. I guess you press here, right? Whoa. Well, I hope it's okay. You can tell that this camera is just a piece of plastic and a piece of something else too.
Shit.
Shh, there are kids watching this. Oh, that was it? I really hope so. There you go. It worked. So this was a roll of T-Max 100, and it expired like some 15 years ago. Someone sent it to me, someone from Instagram. I do not remember their name right now. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna look it up, look for it later, and I'm gonna mention them here with their username. I really appreciate that. And they also sent me, oh, I hope I brought it. Yeah, another roll here. It's a roll of FP4. This is ISO 125. So both of them are pretty slow films, so I don't know how that's gonna work out with this camera, which probably has a very small aperture anyway. But it's another 36 exposures, and yeah, let's load it. That's it. One. That's pretty cool. Alright, so it's been a while since I developed 35. To open the cartridges, I had a very useful tool in the US that I don't have here with me, unfortunately. So I'm gonna be trying different tools. And if everything else fails, alright, let's do this. This is probably not gonna be pretty and it's gonna take me a while. Remember, if you use devices like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, to take it off before getting your hands inside the changing bag, because yeah, they emit light and you don't want that. All right. Boom. Alright, so this should be done. At this point, you've seen the images and I haven't. I hope it worked. Luckily for me, both films, FP4 and T-Max 100, had the same developing times to push them to 200. So I was guessing mostly the developing times because I could only find values to push them to 200, but not beyond that. And since these are very slow films, and I'm afraid that the camera is something like f8, f11. I wanted to push them at least to 400 or something like that. Otherwise, I would get very dark images here. So what I did, I just took the times for ISO 200 and I increased the time and the temperature a little bit. So for 5 minutes at 20 degrees, I did 7 minutes and 20 degrees Celsius. And I'm hoping that the expired film, it wasn't that expired and it still worked fine. But yeah, I don't know, it was just a guessing game here, and we'll see if that paid off. All right, I know what happened here. Oh, I guess those are the panoramas. Yeah, there is something wrong here. These didn't work at all. Completely overexposed. There are only a few frames I'm gonna be able to yeah, the panorama frames didn't work at all. They are completely overexposed. I see myself there, selfie. And yeah, some frames overlap. For five frames on this roll that I might be able to use, which is not great. Let's see if we had more luck with this other one. I don't know if it was the developing. Maybe I overdeveloped these. These seem overexposed as well. Well, there is one frame there. Kind of look like some of them are like double and triple exposures. Okay, well, so I don't think I'm gonna be using this camera anytime soon again. Let's wait until they are dry and let's try to scan them. Maybe I can get something from them, but yeah, doesn't look good. So this experiment didn't work out as I thought it would for many reasons. For starters, I messed up the development. I don't think these two film stocks, T-Max and FP4, are good film stocks for pushing anyway, but I think I did it way too much. I was guesstimating, as I said, and I just overdeveloped them. But also because I think that this camera is a little bit, let's say, worse than I thought it was. Not that I thought it was very reliable, but it feels like every time you press the shutter, it does something different. Sometimes it feels like it's stuck, sometimes it feels like it's super fast. So I don't really know what it's doing. There is some overlapping between the frames too, so the winding mechanism doesn't seem to be working well either. Way too many things for this experiment to really work out. It's not a big deal because this was not my main camera during the road trip, or I was taking important pictures with it, but it's disappointing. I was very excited about the panorama feature. Lately I've been experimenting with more aspect ratios and formats. I really like the extremes, square and very panoramic, and I thought that this could do the trick. It was disappointing to see that it was actually cropping the frame. I think I would rather have it cropping the viewfinder so you still see the framing. Even if it's not accurate 100%, you more or less could see what you were going to get. But I would actually rather have the whole frame so I could do the cropping afterwards. That's what I do with my digital camera, and I take the whole frame and then go afterwards and I crop the top and the bottom to make the panorama. Another thing that was disappointing about this camera is that I asked my dad where these cameras came from. As I said, there were 3 or 4 around the house, and it turns out this is I knew it was familiar, but this is a contact lens liquid company, and they were giving them away with the liquid when you bought them. So there is not even a cool story behind these cameras. I don't think I'm gonna be shooting them again anytime soon, but it was still fun, and photography is all about experimentation, and this time didn't really work, but it could have. There's more film coming to this channel very soon as the next video, with a much better camera and hopefully with much better results, so stay tuned for that. Until then, I can only thank you again for watching, and yeah, see you in the next one.